Hey devs, April here. Welcome to another Learn with Experts live stream. Quick aside, isn't that intro music just so good? Anyway, in this series, I invite folks to deep dive into a particular feature while giving you the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. This channel is all about helping you be the best Appian developer that you can be, so make sure that you subscribe so you never miss new videos or live streams. I have a couple announcements at the end of the stream with a couple ways you can earn some great prizes, so make sure you stick around until the end. Today's stream is all about adding document functionality to your Appian workflows. We'll be showing off out-of-the-box features as well as a couple of plugins to add even more functionality to your apps. We want you to be a part of that conversation, so don't be a stranger. I'll be monitoring the chat throughout the stream so that we can answer your questions. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to bring out Principal Consultant Stephanie Cho and Product Evangelist Kyle Miller. Welcome, friends. Some quick intros. Kyle, you may be a familiar face from our AI Skills live stream, so why don't you start?
Yes. April, thanks for having me back. Really happy to join again for another live stream. So my name is Kyle Miller. I am a product evangelist here at Appian. I get to focus on process automation, RPA, and AI with Appian, and I've been here for almost 2 years.
Awesome. And Stephanie, what about you?
Awesome. Hey, April. Thanks for having me. My name is Stephanie Cho. I've been a principal consultant at Appian for 7 years now, and I'm excited to talk about the latest and greatest features with Kyle, and April here today.
Yeah, 7 years. That's a lot of Appian releases to get through. Great. So documents. Today, let me just tell you a little bit about our use case and then we'll jump right into it. So imagine that we are a design company that helps do reviews for board game instruction manuals. So we're going to go through a workflow where people can upload manuals that they want reviewed and where you can go through a review process of those documents and then some additional functionality around moving those documents around. So let's jump into it. Where are we starting, Kyle?
Sure. I think it's best for us to just go right into the interface object because we want our external customers or clients, if you will, to be able to upload their board game instructions for review.
Yeah, absolutely. So right in here, this is our interface for the portal, and we have a couple of document things to talk about here. So the first and foremost is the file upload field, which I'm sure if you've been an Appian developer for a while, you're pretty familiar with. Stephanie, how many projects do you use the file upload field on, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say every single project that I've been on, they love to upload files, whether it's documents or images or videos, and this is definitely the component to use for that.
And when it comes to file uploads, what things should people consider? Like when it comes to maybe validations, keeping things safe, what are the kind of questions you want to be asking your stakeholders about files?
Yeah, one of the key things we always ask is how large are these files? How often are people uploading it to the application that you're building? And kind of what type of file extensions you may have. So definitely those are the key things to consider. And we want to make sure Appian has the right validations in place to kind of limit and make sure things that are uploaded aren't negative or bad to the application altogether.
Right, absolutely. And that is something, it's pretty cool because you can set it system-wide in the admin console or individually within each application. So Kyle, I see, this is a great starting point, but I see you don't have any validations. So maybe we should add some of those in.
I think you're right. So let's go over to Appian documentation because I don't always use validation in my file uploads, and maybe I just need a little refresher of what I should add. So let me just search the documentation for validations. Looks like I've already done this, and
maybe all files must be PDFs. That's pretty good for manuals, right?
Yeah. You know what? I think I'm only uploading PDFs, so I want to show what it looks like when I'm not selecting one.
Okay.
Or, I mean, if the validation only allows something other than a PDF. So,
okay.
What I love about Appian documentation, with a lot of documentation, I just kind of get to use exactly what they put there most times, or maybe I might need to modify just 1 or 2 lines, but I think that looks good. So just to show an example, I'm gonna test it out. Select one of my board game instructions here. Who doesn't love chess?
Chess is a little too complicated for me, I think. I really like puzzle games, but I think chess is too big brain for me. Okay, so
Yeah,
attachments must be images. Yep.
yeah, and that is not an image. Clearly, it says it's a PDF, and I love that it shows the file size there too. So
Yeah.
I think that's just a great example of validations. But to
Yeah.
your point, like I could probably have reversed it, but I just wanted to show that prompt
Yeah.
right there.
And you can just go back into the docs and copy, because there's also an example of all must be PDFs. I
Yeah.
think remembering that the docs have so many great examples and sample code for you to just copy and paste and make a few changes is something maybe we forget sometimes. But I don't know, Stephanie, what about you? I mean, when I was learning, I would always just go into interface and function recipes and like just try to rebuild them. And that was a great way to learn.
Oh yeah, luckily a lot of the code that you can build can be pretty robust and handle a lot of different things. So Docs will have a lot of great examples of that. So definitely don't forget that Docs is one of your biggest resources as a developer.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's low code, it's not no code, and Sail's really powerful. It can do a lot of stuff. So Docs is a great resource. All right. So this is a portal. So we have our file upload field, but with a portal, there's one other thing that you need to do to make sure the files can get submitted. So Stephanie, what is that with the portal?
Yeah, for portal is definitely it's one of those things that's a little bit different than your typical form or task, and this is where the new submit upload file component will come in. As you can see in the validations, we have some temporary data around the file that kind of helps us do validations or check against the name. But this new component will actually provide more details about the file that's been uploaded directly on this interface.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that just needs to go into your save into of whatever your button is on that page. And more about how files typically like worked before we had this function. We do actually have a how to work with files or how files work in Appian video that I made a year and a half ago. So you can check that out. This channel really is growing a lot. We have like a video for almost everything we're building up. All right. So I think that's it on the portal, right? Like this is our starting place, simple form. Let me upload that document that I want reviewed. So Kyle, what's next for us?
Yeah, so just thinking about the flow of the prompt that you talked about. So the client's going to upload a document, and let's go look at what that process is going to look like, because a lot of this is going to be run through our process model. So once the file gets uploaded, we're going to write that data to our record, our documents record here, and then we're going to have a user input task, and we want to review that document that was uploaded. So I feel like we should go to the next interface.
Yeah. I love working from interfaces because it helps be really visual, and then you can remember what fields you need, and it's helpful for the process and everything. So, okay. So tell us what we're starting with here, Kyle.
We're starting with one of my favorite board games, Splendor, but I think that is just the example I used. So this is the task form that I guess us as the company is going to use to review the document that was uploaded by the client. So first thing we have here is Appian's out of the box document viewer. It's great because now you can just, Appian just allows you to just use this component to view any document that is uploaded. You can do many things with it actually. And then below that, we have our description, and we have an approve or request changes button here if we don't approve, if there's something that the client needs to change with it, and a comment box and buttons to cancel or submit. So this is our task form. And so far it looks good, but April, yeah. I think it can look better.
Yeah, maybe the look and feel won't actually change that much, but maybe adding additional functionality. So yeah, the document viewer covers a ton of use cases, but here's the great thing about the app market is that it adds even more that you can do. So we're going to be adding the Apryse Web Viewer component. So maybe Kyle, you can just jump to the app market listing real quick. And Stephanie, you've actually had experience implementing this in the real world. So can you just talk a little bit about why you wanted to use this and what the client used it for?
Yeah, the document viewer is already a great feature that Appian provides, where you can instantly see a file that's been uploaded and kind of download or print locally to your computer. But sometimes when you have a workflow where people want to review or approve of these documents or supplemental artifacts, sometimes they like to collaborate or modify and make suggestions on the document directly. And Apryse is one of those components that Appian provides as a plugin where you can do that and open up kind of the features and functionalities one can add on to the document directly. So it's a great addition, I would say, in case you want to enhance just not only just viewing documents, but being able to edit and add commentary to the documents as well.
Yeah, so in this case, we're going to talk about like the adding comments. I don't know who's used Google Docs out there. We use Google Workspace internally at Appian. So I'm really used to being able to go ahead and add a comment exactly with what I'm talking about. And I think for design reviews of these large PDF manuals, that actually would be a lot more helpful than just writing comments in a comment box. So let's go ahead, Kyle, and jump in to add this in. This does require a license key, which developers can get and use this with a watermark. And then, once you've made your demos and maybe if your customer or stakeholder wants, then you can look into purchasing a full license. But developers, you can get access to this for free to play around with. So, Kyle, where are we starting?
Yeah, so you mentioned let's enhance our page here. So I'm gonna remove our current document viewer so we can add in the Apryse one. So we've already installed the plugin into our environment. So if you go over to the left and scroll down to the bottom, you should be able to see any custom components that you've added to the environment. So right here, this web viewer, that is our Apryse plugin. So I'm going to drag that up into our interface right here.
And this is one of the great things about component plugins is that once you deploy them to your environment, which you can do right from the admin console, same as any other plugin, it just comes up right in your palette and you can drag and drop it over. So Kyle's going to set up a few configurations here to get this to work. But I don't... Oh man, I just lost my train of thought. So Stephanie, maybe you can share some other experience from the road. We have someone who asked a question about generating documents. So maybe you can give some examples of that. I know we have some other plugins out that are helpful for doing things like that.
Yeah, I would say as far as generating documents, this is really more of just modifying and editing an existing document that you upload. You can have the option to add pages with this component plugin, which is very nice. But as far as generating and custom generating these documents, it's kind of a different plugin that we would talk about. This is really more of being able to add a collaboration factor to existing documents that have already been uploaded so that, no one has to go to outside of Appian just to preview a document or add comments or make notes on. They can kind of just do that all within an Appian workflow. So this is kind of where Apryse has became a huge contributor to some of those more one of those more workflows that are document heavy. And it's not even just documents, right? It's also potentially just images, PDFs, PowerPoints, Excel spreadsheets. Like that's all capable as available extensions here in Apryse.
Yeah. Cool. So Kyle, it looks like you're almost done. Can you just talk us through what configurations you need to get started?
Yeah. So far I only did the ones I needed just to view my document and get that going. So that was a license key. And I believe you already spoke to how you can obtain that. The service API key, that's just adding and getting that Appian API key from a user there. And then I put in the Appian doc I wanted to look at. So I have a rule input up here for documents, and I just pointed it at that document ID field. And then the last thing here to get it going was the connected system. So let me just show you what that looks like. It's pretty simple to set up as well.
Yeah, so this is an additional plugin, and this is actually something that's pretty common. When there's a component plugin, there's also a partner connected system plugin, because one is handling how it's the image is rendering, and the other one is handling some behind the scenes functionality. So in this case, the connected system is what's, using that API service account and the document to, upload or retrieve documents from Appian, while the component itself is worried more about or is focused more on the display aspect. So another example of this is our Google Maps component and connected system, where you can use the component and you can put in coordinates, and that's great. It'll display the map for you. But if you want to be able to search addresses and do things dynamically, you'll need the connected system to go ahead and call Google Maps and get that information back for you. So quick aside there. But I also see that there's a ton of other configuration options here. So Stephanie, can you just talk to a little bit like why you would want to add more, or maybe can we change some things to be dynamic depending on who's looking at the interface?
Yeah. So like we said, this is a review process for the documents that's been uploaded, and most of the time, you can just view these documents straight away with the doc viewer. But there's some times where, again, you want to open that document for collaboration. So some people like to add some text fields, highlights. They can even add comments directly in the document itself, or even add shapes or annotations to the document. But with that, we also like to open the floor to actually disable some of them. Maybe we don't want them to add comments. Maybe we don't want them to draw shapes and circles on these PDFs. We want them to kind of keep their direct responsibility targeted to just adding comments only. This web component has a lot of flexibility on kind of customizing what's available to the end user.
Yeah, and that's kind of true of all of Appian, right? You can customize anything. You can check, is a user member of a group, who this logged in user is, all those sorts of things. And I also just want to point out, Kyle took like a couple of minutes to configure this, and it already looks so cool. And all the comments and everything, like this is another thing that really can wow your stakeholders. But for the developer, it didn't really take much work. We're using the tools that Appian brings to us. Oh, that's a nice message and reminder, Kyle. Thank you for that. So yeah, I see these annotations and the display names. I also see you enabled dark mode. So a lot of great configuration options here. I totally recommend checking this plugin out and playing around with it. Any other things you wanted to mention, Stephanie, about using this plugin, or any other experience from the road with it?
Yeah, no, I would say like Kyle did a really quick, amazing job, like modifying this configuration through the component configuration on the right-hand panel. But you can always just go straight up into the expression mode and modify your configurations there as well. So it'll have all the respective information within the web viewer component, kind of see what kind of features you can enable or disable with this component plugin, Apryse.
Yeah, and you see a lot of configuration options there. I see a question in the chat, and I'm going to ask like a bit of a clarifying question for you, Srinivas. Srinivas asked, how is metadata handled, and can it be customized for different types of data? So do you mean with the Apryse plugin specifically, or within Appian, I guess is my question. Stephanie, I know you were mentioning different types of metadata. Well, metadata in terms of like file extension and size and all those sorts of things, which Appian just stores. You can use the document function to retrieve that kind of information. But another benefit of using this plugin or other component connected system plugins is they handle a lot of the logic that for you. They take care of it so that you can just have that beautiful low code experience that you're used to with all of our out of the box functionality there.
April, I do want to call out one thing about this. Another really cool feature about the plugin. So when I switched over, because this is just all test right now, one thing that you might make all these annotations, you can also save them to the PDF. So when I switched over, I lost all that stuff that I did, but I could just save it. And now if I was to switch back and forth, I probably should let that finish. I should see my approved now. So.
Yeah. So that's right. Apryse taking care of those things all for you. Really nice. Great. Okay. So this is our review step. What comes next after something's reviewed?
Yeah. So ideally, if all this looks great to me, I'm just going to approve this. I would leave a comment looks good to me. And then click submit, but we'll get to that and show it in full totality. But for this interface, something I do want to call out, since we are talking about document management here. Appian has the ability to manage your documents, whether it's through the interface or directly through your process model. In this one, I gave an example of just managing it through the actual interface. So when we actually go through it, you'll see like some of these move folders and stuff. Yep, like move document if some conditions there. So I did want to call that out because we're going to see it happen again differently.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So here's our process. Before we move on real quick, we did get a question about activity chaining. And so do we need the activity chaining in this? So technically, since we're starting from a portal and activity chaining is really helpful when a user is going from form to form, we wouldn't need activity chaining in the beginning there, but it would be nice after the collateral view. Stephanie, can you talk about maybe some of CS's best practices when it comes to activity chaining?
Yeah, since the portal was kind of external, yeah, we really don't need that right in between the start node and the review task. But anytime you need any kind of smart service to execute before someone moves on to the next page, you want to ensure activity chaining is enabled in your process flow. So let's say we want to move those documents and folders before they end the page so that they move on to the next screen. It's showing those document folders. It'll show everything in their right spot and place. Same thing with email. We want to make sure that that email gets sent out before. You maybe not need that for a form to load in the next interface, but it's still something that you want to consider based off of your kind of front end experience as a user.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that. All right, Kyle, back to you. What's next?
If you guys haven't learned, that is the type of developer I am.
Activity chains everywhere. Yeah, I'm curious for the audience. Are you an activity chains everywhere person? Are you a make interfaces better with cards everywhere person? Because, we as developers definitely fall into those kind of habits.
Yeah, you pick up your own favorite habits, and
Yeah.
that is definitely one of mine. So after we approve or request changes for that review document, we're going to hit our decision node here, and yes is going to move the documents and go to this sub-process model. And then if we request changes, it'll send the email back to the client. That's why we collected their email, and it will attach all of our comments and everything with the document.
Yeah, so that email, that's very important because portal, they're not users that can log into our Appian environment. So we need a way to communicate back to them. Stephanie, how popular have portals been since they've come out? Is that something you're starting to use in all your projects?
Oh yeah, I think they love having this option of like a public interface that they can quickly go in and interact with Appian. So it's also just like aesthetically appeasing too. Like when people see it for the first time, they're like, oh yeah, I want to see how I can even incorporate portals into Appian, especially if they already have it within their system today.
Yeah, the amazing leaps and bounds we make with UX every release is just so incredible. All right, Kyle, I'm not going to interrupt you again this time.
No,
you go.
Great conversation. So I mentioned it's going to go into this sub process. So I'm just going to click over to this just to highlight some of those smart services here. You can create folder, move document, and there's many more you can use as well in your process models. But these are what I've chosen for our document management actions. And kind of to show it in action. So let's just keep that same example we approved it. I showed how that example is just going to move in the interface, but typically you'd probably build all your interfaces about using the same processes. So I would normally build it so it uses this. So it would probably just follow this move document path and then just go to our write record node. Yeah. And that would end our process there.
And these are like very simple to configure, right, Kyle? Can you just click into one of them just so we can see? Yeah, going over to the data tab. So literally document destination.
Yep. So I just have two variables here. So document the origin. I just called it origin. It was easier to reuse. And destination is destination. So
cool.
And that was really it. After that, it'll move my document right to the record again. And yeah, we can see that in action. So I have another interface, but we can honestly view this one on our site. And here are those actions that we just saw as well. with the addition of upload file. So I'll just click around here. So here again, this is Appian's out-of-the-box document viewer. And then we also have some of our document information down below. Let's say we wanted to move this document. As you see here, it's currently in this folder. Let's click this one over here because that is the destination that we want to move it to. Move chest to A through K. That seems right.
Yeah, I think that's how Alphabet works.
Yeah, and we see it moved already. So
yeah, so if we just stay on this for a second. So yeah, that's the out-of-the-box doc viewer. That's the out-of-the-box file folder browser component, which is really slick and, very familiar to anyone who uses a computer probably. We got our document information down at the bottom. So we've talked a lot about docs, but let's talk a little bit more about security. Stephanie, could you just tell us a little bit about best practices or what to consider when setting up security on folders, documents, or how you should go ahead managing that or asking your stakeholders about what requirements they need?
Yeah, luckily when you create a new app, the app creates these folders pretty much seamlessly for you nowadays and sets up those group security pretty nicely. But you do want to be cognizant of who can access these documents and certain folders. Let's say, only a certain group needs to see A through K artifacts and another group of users needs to see L through Z. You have the flexibility in Appian to configure that. And what's nice is they also let you in the front end kind of manage these documents as well with this create folder, move documents, smart services. So a lot of things that you might see more on the designer aspect, you can expose it in the front end. But I would say it's nice that you have the flexibility to enable that in the front end for end users, because some people might not be familiar with the designer interface and they just want to see a site. And that's what Appian can give to customers and be able to manage their documents that are within their Appian site altogether. And I will also add that you can see that Kyle is showing the document viewer, because at this point in time, these people probably don't need to review or make comments on the documents. They just need to view it at this point. So there's flexibility there on picking and choosing when you can show the web component plugin or just the basic out of the box or the regular out of the box document viewer.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I see in this case, we have our review folder, and then once it gets approved, we can move it to our other folders. Another example of maybe using folders is, with our App Market submissions app, we want to, if you're submitting plugins to the App Market, we want to make sure that security is set on those files you're submitting to be just you or just your organization. And then, there's other plugins you can use as well. Like there's plugins you can use to create zip files. So when we create the zip files that you can then download from the App Market that include, in this case, same with Apryse, the plugin, the sample app, any instructions, we can create that zip file and do all sorts of fun document things, and most of them pretty easily. So I think this is about it, and we're going to get into our demo, just showing out the live process. So I'll just shoot it to the chat. Now's your chance. Throw in any questions you may have or anything, and we'll go through the demo and then check back with y'all. So anything else you want to add before the demo, Kyle or Stephanie?
No, I'm excited to go through it all.
All right. Moment of truth.
Yeah, I did just save an interface on the other side, so I'm just making sure the portal updated. So here we go. Moment of truth, like you said.
I shouldn't have. I did that to you in the last live stream, and then
we'll see if you have magic powers here.
Games for me, games for you.
All right. What game do you want to see?
Sushi Go.
Sushi Go.
That's a fun, quick one. I don't know. Any favorite board games out there in the audience? Mine is Power Grid. I don't know if many people have heard of that one, but that's mine. Kyle, Stephanie, what about you? Favorite board game?
I think I already spoiled it.
Oh, Splendor. Okay.
And then I'm an OG Settlers Catan fan.
Oh wow. Yeah.
That is that's a lot of people's gateway into more
Right.
advanced
Yep.
board games
Can't
for
go
sure.
wrong with that one.
Yeah.
While we're talking about board games. So I'm gonna pull up, just so everybody knows, I submitted through the portal. It wrote to our record, and now I'm gonna view our task. Real quick aside, if there are any Avalon fans out there, oof, that's definitely my second.
I'm just so bad at those kind of games. I have like no poker face at all. I just can't. We got Wings as a response from Chris for favorite board game. I don't think I've heard of that one. James loves Power Grid. Yes. All right. Great. So we reviewed it, went through. Looks like it came all the way through to the end. So great job.
It was a very simple process model, and I think those sometimes are the best, and it worked just fine. Worked great.
Yeah. With simple process models, I mean, since I have you here, Stephanie, a lot of times we have PMs on who can talk a lot about features, but having a consultant on is really great to talk about more, higher level application things. So when it comes to process models, Kyle said he loves simple ones. I also love simple ones. So is that kind of a best practice to break things down, similar to how you would break down things into interfaces and expression rules to make it easier to read? Or, what's your approach there?
Oh yeah, my biggest approach is, what if someone were to come into your application and see it for the first time? Would they be able to decipher what's going on? Would they be able to reuse a lot of the existing components you have? I think Kyle did an amazing job having the move documents as a sub process that he can not only use in his main workflow, but also on his actions that he has in his doc viewer site. So being able to make it robust and flexible for other parts of your app is kind of the key thing that I think we use as a best practice as a consultant.
Yeah, and then it's also like Appian's very visual, and you can even show it to the stakeholders, and it makes it really easy to have those conversations with them as well. We have a question that came through. Is it possible to incorporate the metadata related to creation, approval, and other details as a cover page merged with the attached file, whether in a PDF or Word format? So this is kind of about creation, merging things together. And so not necessarily a prize, but we can do this, right? We can create documents and maybe merge things together, get information from your Appian process, right?
Yeah, that's definitely another type of plugin that you can incorporate into your main workflow. Another cool thing about Apryse too is you could probably just have a page added to this document and have comments added and capture that information as well directly with this plugin. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of options and customizations that you can use with plugins and your regular workflow to create that kind of cover page that you're looking for.
Yeah. Another plugin that Stefan mentioned in the chat was generating documents using the HTML to PDF plugin. So that's another good one. We have PDF tools. There's so many out there. So I mean, I always say this, and maybe I'm biased because when I first started working at Appian 5 years ago, I was working pretty heavily on the app market, but there's so much out there to discover and to help you. Do you have any favorite app market things in general, Stephanie? Maybe not necessarily plugins, but utilities or anything like that?
Well, I definitely I love anything that is just out of the box, I will say.
Yeah.
If I can start off with out of the box and go from there, then I'm A-okay, and I'll try to use out of the box as much as I can. But definitely don't be afraid to look at community and the app market to see what other options there are, because your clients can be asking for some, very complex stuff that maybe, you just need a little bit of extra help besides what Appian can already do for you.
Yeah. But there's even like utilities too that are not necessarily, adding a component or adding a function, but things to help you with the management of your apps, right? Or environment cleanup, database load generation, things that can help with that sort of stuff. All right, let's see. I don't see any more questions. Oh, is this app on the community site for us to review? So this particular quick app that Kyle just made is not. I guess if you are interested in that, we could get it up there for you. But a lot of the functionality he used is from Apryse for that main part of the workflow. And they do have a sample app included in their download from the app market. So that'd be a great place to look. If you really want this one, ping us in the chat.
Whoever wrote that question, special place in my heart.
Wow. Nice. All right. I don't see anything else. Stephanie, any parting words of advice for young developers out there now that you have kind of like grown in your career at Appian and lead teams and help young developers get started? What tips, tricks, advice do you have for them?
I will say always feel open to ask any questions. Docs and community is one of your biggest resources as a developer. I will also say I didn't come into the space as a computer science major or an engineer. I came in from a different background, but I was able to learn Appian very easily because of the low code environment. So definitely have fun with it. It's very user friendly, and I hope you guys enjoyed developing with Appian in the future.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, I know I do. Kyle, I think you like it 2 years in, right? You still like it?
I mean, I agree with Stephanie. I don't have a computer science background, so honestly, I self-taught to get myself here and love it every day still. And I love how ease of use Appian is for people to catch on to. So,
yeah. Chris also said, don't forget us old new developers. Yeah, I mean, for sure. Developers of all experience levels, backgrounds. I think Appian's pretty cool because it's kind of a melting pot for people from different experiences and different levels who can all come together and make some beautiful apps, wow some stakeholders in short amounts of time. So yeah, I mean, speaking of older developers, if there are any more experienced folks who have live stream or video ideas you want to see, please let us know. Let me know. Anyway, great stream today. Appian rocks even after 14 years. Yes, Fawn, that's right. Okay, anyway, before I close out with the announcements, just want to say another thank you very much, Kyle and Stephanie, for joining today, sharing your knowledge. Hope to have you both back on another live stream soon. So thanks so much. See y'all later.
Thank you, April.
Thanks, April.
All right, so our announcements before we close out. Do you want a free pass to Appian Europe? Well, we're less than 2 months out from our November 15th conference, and we'll be hosting the Live Build Challenge this year in a new format that I've been cooking up that will allow for increased participation. So more than 4, more than 6 participants. We'll be having a good amount of them. Apply to compete by October 15th at community.appian.com/challenges. Second announcement, this year, Appian is conducting its first developer sentiment survey. So we want to have a better understanding of your experience as an Appian developer and use your feedback to enhance our product and offerings. So our survey, it'll be coming out on October 3rd and it will close on October 27th. Make sure you keep your eye out for the upcoming community newsletter and across the community website, because the first 50 respondents to take the survey from each geographical region, so Americas, Europe and Middle East, and then APJ, will be eligible to receive a free certification voucher. Even if you aren't among the first 50 to take the survey, we'll also be raffling off some prizes, including a free pass to our 25th anniversary Appian World next year, free training days, and some Appian branded JBL speakers. So again, we have a survey coming out. It'll start on October 3rd. First 50 respondents in each region will be eligible for a certification voucher, and everyone who takes the survey will be raffling off Appian World Pass, training days, and Appian branded JBL speakers. Whew, that was a lot. Our next stream will be Thursday, October 19th at 11 a.m., showing how to build from inspiration to give you some tips on creating beautiful UIs. So I hope to see you there. To our lovely audience, thank you so much for joining today. If you enjoyed the stream, please hit the like button to let us know. If you have more questions or ideas for future streams, drop a comment below or head over to the community discussion boards. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next one.